When it comes to training, targeting the triceps is definitely one of my preferred muscle groups to tackle. Now, knowing as much, what I see so often is individuals in the gym doing the same tricep exercises over and over and over again. And what's interesting is the triceps actually respond extremely well to exercise variation. Different angles, different grips, different implements, etc. So knowing as much, in today's video I'm going to cover 6 tricep variations that are personal favorites of mine and ones that I rarely see done in the gym. In fact, you might not have done any of them in your own training so far. We'll have to see. First on the list, we've got incline spoon presses. So dumbbells are going to be in contact with each other throughout the entire rep and consequently the entire set. From this position, you're going to squeeze the handles tight, ensuring stability in the shoulders and pressing up to a full extension. So this is a neutral pressing variation, considering your grip placement. Back down, contact with the chest, and back up over the chest. Every rep, we want to reach a full extension in the elbows. And I mix these up, incorporating them both in a lower rep range with heavier loads, as well as a higher rep range with lighter loads. Now, I personally love incorporating cable press down variations to target the back of the arms. Oftentimes, people use either a hand position with the palms facing the floor or a slight angle, but rarely do they incorporate a neutral grip or a hammer grip as we're going to do with this press down variation. In fact, for a lot of tricep work, whether it be press variations, extension variations, or press down variations, people often neglect that neutral grip hand positioning when it contributes so much to tricep development. So we're grabbing the handles, arms are locked in tight to the sides, and from just greater than a 90-degree angle, you're going to press down through a full extension in the arms before controlling back up. The majority of the movement should be coming from the lower part of the limb, and there should be very little movement through the upper arm. Really focusing on driving those hands down towards the floor and reaching that full extension at the elbow. Next on the list is the Tate Press. It's a pretty unique exercise. It's not a variation that I often see done ever. Now, you don't need heavy weights for this exercise to be effective. You're going to start with the dumbbells at a full extension, just like so. And basically what you're going to do is roll them in towards each other, with your elbows going out to the walls on either side of you. As they come in towards each other and your elbows go out, you're going to turn the dumbbells all the way in so that your knuckles are pointing towards each other. Contact with the chest is made with the head of the dumbbell before coming back up to a full extension. Now, I've seen this variation done both ways. One, where the dumbbells are held very close to each other, and two, where they remain in contact with each other throughout the entire rep. This exercise should be done diligently, with control. Don't rush through it. Focus on ensuring that your elbows are pointing slightly towards your legs as opposed to flaring out towards your head, as this will lead to quite a bit of shoulder discomfort if you're not aware of their positioning throughout the rep and the set in its entirety. Now, I've found from experience that there isn't a huge difference between keeping them in contact with each other and allowing a slight gap. I prefer to keep them in contact with each other only because I feel that it allows me to maintain a greater degree of control over the weights, and thus I can increase the load over time and get much more prioritization and development of the triceps throughout my working sets. Then we've got suspension triceps extensions. Now, these are a body weight exercise, therefore they're not as measurable as would be, say, a barbell or dumbbell or even cable tricep variation. Knowing as much, I personally put these at the latter end of an upper body training session, and I usually incorporate them in some sort of burnout fashion, either going for an AMRAP set, as many reps as possible in a predetermined time, or I aim to best a previous amount of reps in some way. So, maybe I do a total number of 50 reps in as short a period of time as I possibly can. But rarely do I put them before a more measurable exercise, such as a Tate press, an incline spoon press, or a hammer grip cable press down. So knowing as much, we're going to start on about a 45-degree angle. Be aware that the lower you are towards the floor, the more challenging this variation is going to become. So if you find the exercise to be a little too hard, simply adjust the angle of your body. Now, from this position, we're actually going to bring the handles together, almost in line with the angle that you're in with your body, above your head. Now, trying to keep a neutral spine and a straight line from the back of your head through to your heel, you're going to make sure that your palms are facing down towards the floor, and you're going to break at the elbows, bringing the handles right to the back of your head before extending through the arm. This is deceptively tough, keeping the handles together and focusing on the majority of the movement coming from the lower limb. There should be very little movement through the upper arm. Obviously there'll be a little bit, but you don't want to be flailing your arms all over the place. You want to be focusing on that bending and extending of the elbow to place as great of an emphasis as possible on the back of the arms. I suggest as well that you always ensure that you're maintaining a tight grip, a vice grip on those handles, as it allows you to control the exercise much more effectively. Next up, we've got overhead banded triceps extension. Now, I love doing these on cable variations, either with a straight bar or a rope attachment, but they're also extremely effective and bring a different degree of intensity when done with band tension. You're going to anchor a light to moderate tension band just above your head on something stable, of course. Now, when doing these, you're going to want a lighter band if you're going for higher reps, and you're going to want a heavier tension band if you want to keep it in a lower rep range. Now, what you're going to do is grab onto the end of the band or just slightly back, depending on how you're trying to manipulate the relative tension. You're going to assume a staggered stance. From here, you're going to have a slight forward lean, focus on keeping a static position with the upper limb, and extend at the elbow, driving the band in front of your forehead before allowing under control the band to return until the elbow position has just slightly broken 90 degrees. Extend and controlling back, really focusing on the back of those arms. And what's interesting is because of the band tension, you're going to feel the greatest amount of stress when you get that band fully extended, right? So the more you go through a range of motion, the more difficult the exercise becomes. That's one of the challenging aspects of incorporating a band versus other variations of tension, a cable stack or a dumbbell or barbell. Oftentimes when you reach a full extension, there's a little bit of a break considering those other loading capacities. But the band just gets more and more challenging. Again, just like the suspension tricep extensions, I like putting these at the latter end of the workout as more of a burnout exercise, often done in a high rep range, sometimes 25 to 30, 30 to 40, even 100 reps with no set or rep scheme. For example, I'll just do 100 reps as rapidly as I can with adequate form, or I'll do them for time under tension. Maybe as many reps as I can in a 60-second time frame. Variations to that nature, because the band tension is not as measurable as other loading variables may be. Final exercise on the list is tricep press downs with a twist. Literally, these are again one of my favorite burnout exercises. I like incorporating these for high reps with light weights in the 20 to 30 rep range, simply because they're very challenging to actually manage over time considering progressions. They're very specific in how they should be done in order to maintain proper form, and because of that, they don't really move all that much. They don't get very heavy. Kind of like a side lateral race, if you will. Now, knowing as much, grab a light set of dumbbells. What you're going to do is assume foot placement approximately shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knees, and then you're going to lower your chest down while driving your hips back to maintain a neutral spine position. From here, we're going to bring the arms up, so they're in about alignment with the torso. And as you do a kickback with both arms, not just a single arm kickback, you're going to extend both arms. But as you get to the extension, you're going to turn your palms up towards the ceiling. So, just like so, we're coming back and twist. Bring them in towards the chest, back and twist. Now, as you reach back with the dumbbells and extend at the elbow. I like to think of simultaneously driving the arm back towards the wall behind me while raising up ever so slightly, just to ensure that full extension. And you'll find that as light as these might be, your triceps are going to be toasted. They are deceptively challenged. Now I'm curious, how many of these variations do you incorporate on a regular basis? Or further, have you done any of these variations whatsoever? I wouldn't be surprised if you've done one or two, but I'm pretty confident most people have not done all 6. If you have, my hat goes off to you. You get pretty creative in the weight room. Now, if you found this information useful, please make sure you subscribe or follow, depending on what social media platform you might be seeing this on. And of course, continue to send your requests and questions for further content.